any memories of like being in that Fortress of Solitude for the first time? Were you blown away by the set?
I was like, this is cool. This is great.
A lot of dust, huh?
Well, they ended up getting to that later. And I remember Glenn saying that we're using a filter, so it's going to glow. Like, don't worry. What I love about these scenes is I'm talking to quote unquote, the ether. And that was a different acting exercise, which I really enjoyed. What I thought was really funny about the set is the floor is completely level. And it's a weird thing to think about.
Yeah.
As people walk through it, there's all these things that move.
Ramps
but then people are just like walking through it. It really should have been
like climbing up a little bit and slipping, maybe.
So maybe I don't know if I'm shitting on the show, but like you're just walking through an ice fortress.
Yeah.
Like even my kids
of disbelief.
I took my kids for a hike today, and I was like, put your hands out in case you slip. Like this is your first time here, right?
Chloe follows Clark into the fortress and observes him communicating with Jarrell, but before she can get closer, she gets hit with a flurry that freezes her. Clark turns down his first day of training and chooses to put the fate of the world on pause to save his friend Chloe. In this scene, Chloe reveals to Clark that she knows his powers, to which Clark is surprised, even though she transported with him to the Arctic. That's called sarcasm, Bryce. Yeah.
Chloe, what are you doing here?
Hi, my name is Charlene A. Tom, I was wondering how much of the Fortress of Solitude was actually a set and how much of it was CGI. Thank you.
Oh, I think we've talked about this before. We could do a whole episode about that day of shooting up in the glaciers. God. I think we've talked about it before. It's amazing. You saving the helicopter, you jumping in the shower with Barry. Like I think we've touched on this, but this could be a whole episode. But all of it is CGI to answer the question. We were in waist deep glacier, dropped off in helicopters, walking toward what was described to us would be there in the episode. So the answer is all CGI.
Here's Shane.
Hey guys, this is Shane from Florida. Earlier in the podcast, you guys had mentioned that the set used for the Fortress of Solitude was the same set used for the Kawachi Caves in earlier seasons. And you guys mentioned how much you disliked filming in those caves or that set. And so my question is, did that set get better once it became the Fortress of Solitude, or was it still rough and uncomfortable to work in? Thanks so much, guys.
I didn't know, thank God. I never was in the Solitude except once in season 7 at where I left the show, which we'll eventually get to. But Tom has to speak on behalf. But yeah.
So to be completely specific, they were different rooms. They were different stages. The Fortress of Solitude was not where the Kawachi Caves. Did we dislike both? Yes. They both had their different things. The thing about the Kawachi Caves is they were hot and humid, and you were like sweating, and you're not allowed to sweat on camera. It just doesn't work. When we moved over to the Fortress of Solitude, they started blowing all these snow particles around. And when you would blow your nose, it would be black coming out of your nose. And they're like, oh, no, this stuff is safe. And I'm like, yeah, look at this tissue that I just, like,
there's no
you're
way.
blowing white stuff.
Yeah.
And like, but this is black stuff. And I know it's a horrible way to say it. What I liked about the Fortress of Solitude is it was a standing set that never changed. So when you went there, it was established and they knew how to light it and they could work quickly in there. So that was really great. But yeah, I think that's the biggest difference. They were different, but not fun. It's never fun when you go to work and you walk away with like stuff coming out of your nose.
Dude, the air was so polluted, just with dust, and it was a lot, man. We lost years of our lives breathing in that shit.
And then the smoke and having to wait for the smoke.
We
on
can never
both sets,
prove it,
and Russ. We always talk about Russ.
Sorry, Russ. Enough with the smoke. Not my fault. Just doing my job, Michael. I know, Russ.